Welcome everybody to this week's Zen and Zazen class. Today I'll talk again about some quotes by Sawaki Roshi from To You, but before that, let's sit for half an hour.
我们今天读那个泽姆老师那本书，然后前面还是30分钟坐禅。
Thank you very much for joining. Today I'm gonna talk about this book again to you. English translation of quotes by Sawaki Roshi. And today we are on page 18. That's part of the third chapter. To you who are totally exhausted from fighting with your spouse. The first quote goes like this. Everyone imagines that their ego is something unchangeable, some immovable center point, which everything revolves around. There once was a man who said, "Look, everyone is dying except me. He's been dead for a long time now." Maybe first I want to, think about what is the ego in the first place. A lot of times in Zen or in Buddhism, we blame everything on the ego. So we suffer because we are attached to the ego, and we just need to get rid of the ego. But to live our daily lives, we need to have a sense of who we are. And we also need to have ego to a certain degree. And when sometimes we tell ourselves everything is the fault of my ego, I have to get rid of my ego. Who says that? Isn't that also the ego that says it's all the fault of the ego? I just have to cut off my ego. So I think part of the practice is also to become a friend of one's ego. Of course, you shouldn't be a slave of your ego, but I think in Zen it's not about killing the ego, but we are a friend of the ego, but we are also independent of the ego. So what is the ego? I think the ego has to do something with this idea that I am the main character in this movie of my life. It's all about me. The movie is all about me. Or to use that metaphor that I've been using a lot, the game. It's all about me, the main player, the main character in the game. It's all about my points that I gain. And of course, nobody thinks like that. Except me. But nobody wants to agree. And also this presumption has something to do with what Sawaki Roshi says. I live my life not only with the presumption that I'm the main character, but also this character will never die. This character will never die. And as Sawaki Roshi says, everybody thinks like that, but they all die. And it's very unlikely that for us it will be different. If there would be anybody in here right now who thinks, no, I won't die, let's talk about it again in 100 years. Let's see if you're still here.
我先给大家简单稍微翻译一下那个书里面写的是什么哈，就是每个人都认为他们的自我自大是不会改变的，就好像有些时候好像自己是中心一样，其他所有的事情都围着自己转。曾经有一个人这样说：“看，每个人除了我以外，都会死。但是他已经死了，他现在已经死了很久了。就是大概其实这个意思。然后老师说，首先我们先应该知道什么是自我。因为在就是禅修或者说我们练习当中，总是把一切的责任归咎于自我，归咎于自大和自我。那我们在现实当中是不是应该对自己有意识呢？你看我们的练习就是让对自己有意识，那么那是谁说的所有的错误都应该归结到自己的自我和自大当中呢？是自我和自大他自己说的 请你不要就是责任全在于自我嘛。然后因为禅修里面其实我们的目的不是让你要解决掉没有自我，我们每一个人都是自己生活的主角，就好像电影的主角一样，但是因为每个人都是自己的主角，其实除了你自己以外，没有人真正赞同你是主角，因为大家都有自己的电影。然后，那那，然后那个，泽木老师说，那我们不是每个人都是生活的主角，就是我们每个人，我们是很多人活在一个电影里面的。虽然你是你电影的主角，然后不会有人永远活在这个世界上，不会有人说我今天不会死亡。老师大概是这个意思，就是我总结一下，就我的理解好像是，我们不能把所有责任都归咎于自我和那个自大，因为禅修其实不是让大家解决这个，而是让你承认每一个都是生活中每一个人都是自我和自己，我感觉老师好像是这个意思哈。
Okay, let's go to the next quote. It starts with the word blindness. And blindness in Japanese here is mumyo. It could also be translated as ignorance. It's a very important term in Buddhism. According to Buddhism, that's kind of our default state. We're usually in that state. Blindness, greed, and aversion, hate. Those are the three evils. But this is also what, how do you say, keeps us chained to suffering. And also in Buddhism, there's a very popular teaching, the 12-fold chain of interdependent origination, I think. So there's 12 elements that are all linked together. And mumyo, blindness, ignorance is the first element. So that's where we all start. It's not about some stupid people out there, but when Sawaki Roshi speaks about blindness, he talks about our normal state. And he says, blindness means that we don't understand the way things are. If we don't understand things, the best thing would be to stay calm. But no, instead of this, we stomp around like a bull in a china shop. That's what makes everything complicated. I think this also has a little bit to do with what I just said about the ego. We don't really understand, well, who we are, the way we function, why we are so attached to this story. We don't really know what the ego is, but instead to just let it be. Accept the fact that we have an ego, but also accept the fact that nobody else thinks that the story is about me. Nobody thinks that the whole story is about Muho, except me. But my wife doesn't think so. And that's why we have a fight from time to time. And we need to accept that, but rather than accepting that, either we try to convince the others I'm important, or we try to get rid of the ego. But we also always think, well, we have to do something about it. But thus we create even a greater mess. So the best thing Sawaki Roshi says is to just stay calm. And that, of course, means to sit, just sit, even without the idea, I need to get enlightened. I need to get rid of the ego. And then you're already stirring things around. Just sit with the ego, with the attachment, with all the delusion. And let it be for a while.
方老师又读了一段啊，简单的稍微翻译一下，就是目盲，或者我们说就英语这个词在日语里面是目盲，或者是你故意不看，忽略，或者是这个意思哈，意思是我们并没有真的明白事情是怎么样的。如果我们不明白这些事情的话，其实最好的事情，其实最好就保持冷静，什么也不要做。但是我们不是这样的，但是我们好像瓷器店里面的牛一样，就是在瓷器店，就是牛好像那个在瓷器店里的牛一直在踏步一样。我们因为你这样就会把所有的事情都变得很复杂。然后老师说，其实这一条也是关于自我，就是自大、自我、自满，大概是这个意思啊。就我们不明白，我们到底是谁？我们总是对自己的那个故事很执着，然后我们学不会，其实事情就是事情这样，让它发生了就发生，放手，我们总是学不会放手，总是想要做点什么。没有人会觉得好像这个故事只是关于我自己，就好像你的妻子或是丈夫一样，呃，不会觉得这只是你的故事，他也觉得是他的故事，所以，这就是我们为什么要吵架的原因哈，就是因为每个人可能想的故事都不一样，我们总是觉得自己特别的重要，然后总是想为自己或者是为你认为的那个故事做点什么，其实我们要做的就是保持冷静，就好像坐禅的时候，你就坐下来，和你的自大、和你的自满，还有你的自我坐在一起，然后让他就和你在一起的时候，其实就够了。老师刚才大概是这个意思哈。
Thank you. I want to stop my talk here, but if you have any questions or anything that you would like to share, you're welcome to do so. Just raise your hand. Yes, please, Bernal.
Hey, thank you, Mojo, for the class. It came to my mind this quote, I think it's from Shunru Suzuki, that he was asked, how much ego do we need? And he said, enough to not step in front of a boss. I don't know if he was him.
Can you say that once more? What did he say?
That someone asked, he said, enough ego to not step in front of a boss.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was...
That's the minimum, yeah. That's the minimum. Sometimes you need a little bit more than that.
Yeah. So it's a good explanation.
Yes.
It resonates with me right now.
Yes.
I also wanted to ask because I was speaking with a friend and he said to me that sometimes when we feel scared or insecurity is because the mind or the ego wants certainty. So that's why we act like that. We feel that we are not in control, and that's when things start to become difficult. So yeah, it's something that I've been reflecting recently in my practice, because just sometimes fear comes to, and I don't know if it's really normal. Like, instead of chasing enlightenment, I just don't want so much enlightenment. I just want to just feel safe, you know?
Yeah, the problem is you are not safe. There's no safe space in this world. You get older with every day. One day you might get sick and you will die sooner or later. And there's nothing that can save you from that. And even all the relations that you have now, there's no guarantee that your friends will stay your friends. Even sometimes kids turn against their parents. That can also happen. There is really nothing safe except, well, the kind of the island. That's something that the Buddha says when he's talking to his disciple Ananda shortly before he died. I'm gonna die, but actually there's no reason for you to be afraid, because even without me, kind of the island, the thing that you can rely on is the Dharma, reality, and it's yourself. But when he talks about this self that we can rely on, of course, he doesn't mean the ego. But I think what he's talking about is what is sometimes called the here and now. In this moment, you are here and now. And wherever you are, whatever situation in life you can be sick in a hospital, you can be dying. But even that, in that moment, you will always be in the here and now. And in a way, that's your safe space. However, the story is going to develop. And even if the whole world betrays you and nobody wants to be a friend of you anymore, the here and now will never betray you. You will also always be in this moment. So if there's any safety in life, then that's what can give you safety. Here and now will always be there for you. And the nice thing about this practice of Zazen, also you don't need any tools for that or anything. As long as you have the here and now to return to, you can do Zazen. So Zazen is also another thing that's always gonna be here for you. Zazen will always be there for you if you return to Zen. Funnily, a lot of us kind of have this attitude. I've been practicing Zazen now for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. What can I get back? But actually, it's not like that. Zazen has been there for us all the time. We never gave anything back to Zazen. Zazen has always been there waiting for us. And even though we never give anything back, Zazen will be waiting for us, even in 5 years and 10 years, whenever you need Zazen, it's going to be there for you. So if you need help, the here and now is going to be there for you. And the easiest way to return to the here and now is to do Zazen. Zazen is going to wait for you. So I think that's maybe the only thing that can really give you safety, the only guarantee that you have. When everything else falls apart, you can still do Zazen. And if you die and you fall into hell, you can still do Zazen in hell. Anything else that you would like to ask or share? Chris, please.
That last question was really nice, but I wanted to clarify something about how you talk about quitting the game. Talked about the ego today and used the metaphor as like we're in a movie or we're in a game. So if we realize that we're in a game, or now I'm thinking about it, like let's say you're dreaming, you didn't know you're dreaming, and then suddenly you realize you're in a dream. Well, maybe that's not a good example because you can wake yourself up out of the dream. So, but if let's say the game then, if we realize we're in this game, but there's nothing else, maybe there's nothing else other than the game. So we can't really totally quit the game. It's more like realizing you're in the game and then you change the way you play the game, would you say?
That's how I always say it, yeah. It's not so much about escaping the game. Zazen allows you to take a break from the game. But then after Zazen, my idea is that life means to return to the game, but you play in a more playful way. Like at one point, like when we were kids, we were all playing. But at one point, we realize there's winners and losers, and we start to compare ourselves with our older brother or with the younger sister, who gets the most attention, who's best at school, who has the better boyfriend, the better girlfriend, who earns more money. And at that point, the game is not playful anymore. It's only about the points. So when we return to the game, I think we need to rediscover the joy of playing and also help others to enjoy the game more. I think that's what we call Mahayana Buddhism and what we call a bodhisattva is all about. Not about escaping the game by yourself. That would be an arhat, somebody who's attained a nirvana. But in Mahayana, we postpone nirvana to help others to enjoy the game more. And the game is much more fun if you don't play it only about yourself, and if it's not only about your game points, but like Frisbee, for example, there's no winner or losers in Frisbee, but still Frisbee can be fun. I think that's the way we try to change the game.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anything else? No other questions? Nothing else? If you have no more questions, then I thank you. And if you like, next Monday, same time, same space, we can sit again and enjoy the game. Zazen's gonna wait here for us. So yeah, thank you very much for your questions and have a nice week. See you again.